to another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Ryan, we're back in the sound room again today.
Yeah, good morning.
And another special guest. I know we've said they're all special, but now we can't quit saying that because
Right.
the moment we do, the next one's going to think, well, what am I?
Right, and then when your computer breaks down, he's going to
Chop
say,
liver.
well, isn't that special if you don't introduce him that way?
So I'd like to introduce Matt Persinger, and he is our IT manager at Premier Companies. And Matt, would you like to just introduce yourself and kind of tell us how you got here, your path to Premier Companies?
Yeah, so I'm not going to make Ryan's mistake. I'm going to talk about my family first. So I married my high school sweetheart, and we got 2 kids. It's been a busy month for us. Our son just graduated from medical school. And,
Oh, my.
And
Wow, congrats.
A week later, our daughter gave us our first grandson, so been busy.
Well, and then there is the podcast.
And then the podcast.
now-
Getting
you got
invited to
that
do this?
today.
I hit the trifecta. So I took the long way here. Graduated from college. Wasn't sure what I was going to do. Spent 6 years in law enforcement. Then 24 years at another co-op. And as of just a day or two ago, I've been here at Premier Companies for 2 years now as the IT manager. So been in the IT business for probably about 20 years now.
Good. I got to just kind of share, I guess, with all of our listeners and fellow employees out there that may be watching what a typical day in Matt's life is like. So we'll have a staff meeting on Tuesday mornings. And this staff meeting, we've got a fairly large geography that we cover. And so the staff meeting, we have to have several other folks come in or call in from other locations remotely. And so it's not unusual to have, them all centrally located around another location. We'll have 3 to 4 other locations calling in. And our CEO, you don't think he watches these, do you? Our CEO, he probably.
I don't know where you're going, but I hope not.
But it's not unusual. We may have some problems with maybe some connectivity, and Matt's always on the hot seat just every every Tuesday morning, whatever. He comes in, he's got his cup of coffee or Mountain Dew, and then it's like, okay, make all this work.
Let's hope this works.
It's so far, last 2 weeks, it has not.
It hasn't. Haven't been impressing the big guy the last couple of weeks.
No. Hey, I got something to ask you off the wall. I heard through the grapevine that you did a triathlon or an Ironman or something recently.
Yeah, so up until about 3 years ago, in the last 3 years, I had about 5 knee surgeries, so that put a halt to that. But yeah, prior to that, I was doing marathons and triathlons, and did the Ironman in Louisville in 2011.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard it too. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I lost 10 pounds that day.
I'm kidding.
One day.
That day.
That's probably true.
Yep, I did.
So what is that? How many miles of each then?
So it's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and 26.2 mile run.
Just swim the Ohio, or where they swim?
Swim in Ohio, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The silence as we all ponder what comes down from Cincinnati
Right.
Yeah.
and Pittsburgh.
That's pretty neat.
Survived it.
Yeah.
That is cool.
That was the goal.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, back to there are some serious things going on that we have a lot of fun at Premier Companies, and we're blessed to have every day's a different day. As soon as we get here, there's who knows what.
You never know.
You never know, do you? But right now, what are some of the things that are front of mind with the IT department at Premier Companies?
So we're pretty much going through a pretty intense infrastructure upgrade and security upgrade. So we got 2 really large projects going on right now. With just there's just 3 of us right now, so we're pretty busy. But we're on the infrastructure side of things. We have 33 locations now, something like that. So we're firewalls and routers at each location need to be changed out, and then on the security side, we're just making some changes on increasing our security posture and trying to be a little more resilient and try to keep that bad stuff out of here, and trying to educate our users. And that's the big one right there.
What? Tell him, Ryan, what you said about we're afraid to click on email.
Well, yeah, I think half his emails in his inbox are me sending stuff saying, "Can I open this?" Because you've got us scared out. So tell us a little bit about the ransomware and the malware and what's going on here. I mean, it looks to me like they're trying to hit the food, fuel, and healthcare industries. That they've been pretty prevalent at that here lately. So, so what's going on?
Yeah. So, what goes on in the mind of a person that's willing to kind of do that sort of thing, I don't know. And it seems like, those industries right now are prime targets for some reason. I'm guessing, one company or two in that industry was able to be taken advantage of, and word spreads, and so they start looking for other companies in that industry. I'm guessing. So the local hospital here was a victim here in September, and they're still recovering from that. So so why it's a certain industry or not, I don't know. I'm guessing just because the word has spread that perhaps those industries might be vulnerable.
So explain, it's kind of just like hostage taking, right? It's like we're going to take your business hostage where you can't function unless you pay us money.
Pretty much that's how it works. So once they gain access, it generally takes a few weeks or months. They'll just kind of do some recon and nose around the network and see what's available for the taking, and then they'll pull the trigger. And basically what they do is encrypt your files and your data and lock you out of it, and then try to get you to pay a ransom to get it back.
And what's scary with the hospital, I mean, that's people's lives. I mean, it is not livelihoods, but their lives.
It is, and it's also, that also, if you don't pay the ransom, which is what the FBI and people tell you not to do, there's repercussions for that too. So they take your data, and some of it's private, and they'll just publish it out on the web, and there's a threat of that too. So they don't want to pay the ransom, but they also don't want their private information out there. So they kind of have two ways of trying to persuade you to pay the ransom.
These folks ever caught?
Rarely. Every once in a while you'll hear of the FBI and maybe CIA or somebody, usually international. So it's going to be, I'd say there's very few local ransomware guys. They're all going to be generally overseas, and a lot of them are government sponsored.
I know our position's clear, as we will not negotiate with ransom hostage takers, and we've taken every division, every department's been tasked with make sure that we're prepared to do it and operate pen and paper if we have to, and start it back from scratch. So
scary thought.
Yeah, it is, but we've got stacks of paper order sheets and two-sided ledgers, and hope it never comes to that, but
yeah,
if I guess our owners can be assured that we're going to suck it up and plow through it.
So without being specific to what we're doing necessarily, what are some of the steps that people can take to protect themselves? I mean, what are these key things? I mean, we're doing this sort of as a PSA, because I mean we're worried about it, but obviously we have others in the same industry, and we don't want to see anybody go through that.
For sure. And the thing of it is what Premier's doing is the same thing that Cummins Engine Company and any global company is doing the same thing, and it's the same things that our farmer owners should be doing at their level too. Nobody's immune, and if you think about it, our member owners, the farmers, they're running a small business. They have employees more than likely, and they have pretty important data. They don't want to get lost, and they need access to probably on a daily basis. So they're all vulnerable, and there's no magic number. Like a small business is just as vulnerable to getting a ransomware attack as anybody, and maybe even more so, because most small businesses don't have an IT staff, and so there's just somebody tasked with keeping the computer running, and so could be very, very vulnerable to this sort of thing. So, but to your question, what can we be doing? It's really some pretty simple things. Number one would be keeping your software up to date. And then when I say that, I mean number one, your operating system, which 99% of the people are running Windows. So you got to keep that up to date. Microsoft pushes updates at least monthly, and when they see something out there that needs to be updated sooner, they'll push an update sooner. But at least every month, second Tuesday of the month usually is they push major updates.
I'll try to summarize these for us. Number one, keep software up to date.
Keep it up to date, and that also means any software you're running.
So I'm just going to keep track of these a little bit and write them down. So the first thing is keep software up to date.
For sure.
And then what about the supporting software?
Okay, yeah. So not only keeping your Microsoft, your Windows up to date, but also any software that you use on your computer to keep track of your accounting or farm management systems, QuickBooks, for the farmers and small business owners, and even for just tracking expenses and whatever you do with your computer at home and any piece of software that you use, got to keep that up to date. Those companies are constantly monitoring and watching for any vulnerabilities or in their software and pushing out updates, and you got to keep those up to date. So that's the number one line of defense.
Very good. What's another thing that we can make sure we do?
So the other thing too is companies are getting away from pushing software out where you download a piece of software and you run it on your computer. It's all moving to the cloud. And so anything in the cloud, which basically means...
I should tell our listeners, and we seldom edit these, but you'll hear jackhammers and drills going every once in a while. Next door, we've got some...
That's progress.
That's progress. We got some remodeling going on. It is not your audio on your device.
No. So.
Yeah.
So back to the cloud.
So yeah, companies are not really pushing out and selling software anymore that you download and install on your computer and run anymore. A lot of it's in the cloud, which basically means it's on the web. You log onto a website and you run the software from there. And so the next thing you want to make sure you do is if anything you log into on a website, you want to use what's called multi-factor authentication. And that's a fancy term, but a lot of people are already doing it, especially in their online banking. So when you, if you use online banking, you log on to your bank, just look at your bank accounts or what have you. Generally, when you log in, they send you a text message with a code in it that you have to put in. That's multi-factor authentication. It's just another way of checking to make sure that you are who you say you are, and you're the one that should have access to that information on the web. So any web-based product that you use where you have to log in and provide personal information of some sort, or you're dealing with an account, or you're dealing with money, you want to make sure they offer and you use the multi-factor authentication. Those two things, keeping your software up to date, the multi-factor authentication, some people say that'll block 99% of the bad stuff right there. Those two things. Yeah. I don't know if it's that high or not. I'm a little skeptical, but definitely those are two things you want to do.
So keep software up to date along with all the supporting software you use. Move to running software off of the cloud, and multi-factor identification. So that's three things, and I know the fourth one. Click on nothing.
That's the next one.
Okay.
Email hygiene.
Email hygiene.
Wow, that's new.
I like that.
Is that yours? Is that your
turn?
turn?
That's mine.
Wow, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
So we're the presence of greatness.
We'll need to.
I like it.
So we'll need to talk about some royalties for that. We can talk about that after.
Yes.
Email. I need to go. I like to get that trademarked while he's in here.
Email floss. Tell us about email hygiene.
Email hygiene. Don't click links in emails. if you're in an email, you get a. Let's just talk about a couple situations. You get an email from somebody you don't even know. It says you need to go click on this link because of whatever reason. They're telling you your bill's past due, or they're going to shut your electric off because you haven't paid your bill. They want you to click on the link. Don't click the link. If it's somebody you actually kind of know, but they generally don't usually send you anything like that, don't click the link. Give them a call. Call them up and say, hey, did you send this? And just make a verification there. A couple other things. You get a notice from Kohl's or Target or somebody like that because your account is overdue, or somebody may have made a purchase on your account or something, and they want you to click this link right here to make sure everything's okay. Don't click the link. If it's from Kohl's, just go to your Kohl's account online and see if there's any information there directly instead of clicking the link. Same with things like Facebook. You get a notice from Facebook, somebody tagged you in a post or posted a picture of you. Click here to go check out the post. Don't click the link. Go to Facebook. See if it's there.
I like this. The email hygiene. Don't click the link. That's all we gotta.
Yeah.
That'll be our new shirts.
Yeah. Same with attachments. Be very careful with attachments. The same thing. If you get an attachment on an email from somebody you don't even know, for one, or somebody you do know that doesn't normally send you that kind of stuff, don't open it. Just give them a call and verify that they actually sent it. And of course, if they didn't, well, just delete it and move on. Email's really just communication. It's just to send a message, and it's gotten past that where we're sending files and information and that sort of thing. And really, we just need to get back to an email's a message, and not a call to action. An email should never be the final authority for you to take an action. It should just be a message. So if you get an email, somebody says, hey, I need you to transfer this money, or I need you to go buy this, or whatever. That email is not the authority to actually go do that. You need to verify that that's the case, from whoever allegedly sent you the email. So
That's good.
Yeah. An email is just a message. It's not a call to action.
All right.
Yeah, that's good. What's your advice on passwords? I've got mine now. You've got me scared to the point mine's so long that I can't hardly remember it. I typed it in 3 times.
It's probably
this morning.
password. It's
Mine?
No,
It's
not.
No, it is not. No, it's
Password.
not. It's so long.
Not now. It's not.
Not now. It is. It may have been one day, but it is not now. I'll guarantee it.
It's taking you that long to get. That's pretty secure.
So at Premier, that's one of the things we're going to be tackling here in the near future is passwords, and there's actually a movement now to go passwordless, to use other forms of authentication rather than passwords. So like biometrics is one that's been out there for a while, but they're improving it.
What does that mean?
It's like a facial recognition or a fingerprint ID instead of putting in a password. The other thing that I would recommend, and there's some free versions of this out there that it's fine. I'll mention a couple called KeyPass or LastPass, but they're basically password vaults, and so you can download them. Some of them are free, and then you just have one password to remember, and that's to get into the vault. And then from there, passwords for any of your software, any of your websites, they're stored inside there in an encrypted fashion, so nobody can get access to them. So when you go to a certain website, you can't remember the password, it's in the vault. You just got to go get it, and some of them allow you to just copy and paste it in there. It makes it simple. So, and you just want those passwords to be the longer the better, and the more complex. And so if it's just a jumbled mess of letters and numbers and symbols, it's hard to crack, and it's also hard to remember. but if you have it in the vault, you don't have to remember it. So that's my big recommendation for just.
You won't have to take all your Post-it notes down when Matt comes into your office.
No, he got me. It's already got different symbols and signs, and frankly, it's hard to remember.
I
You're
can't
right.
remember.
Yeah, and
Yeah, so back when they were recommending really long passwords and change them, every 30 days, that gets really frustrating for the end user. And so that's one of the tasks for an IT department is to find the line between being really secure and having your network locked down and not frustrating the end user to the point where they just find ways to bypass what you're doing, like taking their really long password and sticking it on a Post-it note on their monitor. So that, that's kind of defeats the purpose, right? So you get to the point where there's got to be a balance. And so,
Nobody's got to think to turn this keyboard over and look for that password.
Exactly.
what about the phrases? There was a movement afoot one time to use a phrase like I kicked the dog when I got home or something, and instead of just having a whatever it may be, like football or whatever you're.
Yeah, and those are fine. But what has come to that I didn't even know until recently, a lot of these guys that are out doing this sort of thing, trying to hack passwords, there are dictionaries out there available for hacking passwords that have not only just words but also phrases.
There's an app. So somebody's made an app to hack passwords.
Yes. There's definitely an app, but there are also dictionaries of pulp culture phrases. So if you're a movie buff and your password is some famous quote from a movie, it's in that dictionary, and they're gonna use it to try to. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so we're down email hygiene. Don't click the link. Don't click attachments. It's not a call to action. And passwords. Make sure they are hard and difficult, and we're moving toward biometrics. I noticed that with I think our IT department 4 or 5 years ago got me a phone, and it's got a facial. I'm sure everybody's got that now, but I thought that was pretty neat. Seems like it's pretty good. Nobody else can open it.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be, a little bit of hotter thing here coming down the pike is the biometrics. And then in addition to multi-factor authentication, where you're using two ways of authenticating instead of just the one way in the past. The other thing I would add to, you got to have a backup. If you've got data that you just got to have, you're running a small business. I think again, our farmers, a lot of information and historical data and accounting data, not only in the case of a hack, but also, computer crash, maybe just hard drive crashes, and you're going to lose all that data. You got to have it backed up. It's got to be air gapped, which means you back it up to an external hard drive or another computer or something, and then it's disconnected from the network or disconnected from your computer. You can buy a external hard drive on Amazon for real cheap, and you can plug that thing in and run a backup on your computer, and then unplug it and put it in a safe.
Cool.
Do that once a week or once a month, whatever you want to do, but make sure you have that backed up. That's another key thing.
Okay.
I tell you, Ryan, that's about all I have. Do you have anything else?
No, I think the biometrics will work until somebody steals your fat head and walks into your office with it.
Yes.
Everything you have will be open.
We take them down, they're down. We used to have our fat heads behind us. But yeah, never thought about that. They take your picture and use
Just
it.
walk right in there with that thing. I don't have anything else. Matt, thanks for coming. I know
Appreciate
that
it.
there's a lot on your plate, and you've been extremely busy here lately, and educating us has been one of your main tasks. So we appreciate all you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt, thanks a lot. And that's another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies.